The Washington Commanders will finally be featured in HBO Films Hard Knocks, but they'll be alongside the entire NFC Beast. We're getting in-season, regular season Hard Knocks, the NFC East edition, and is Terry McLaurin making his first push towards a contract extension going into the 2025 season. According to Jordan Schultz, he's doing just that. Let's talk about it. What it do, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson, back with the latest and greatest on the Ramblin' with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about our Washington Commanders. It is Wednesday, May 21st, and off-season team activities and workouts have been the only thing really going on. We're past the rookie mini camp stage of the offseason. We just seen Jalen Lane in his game uniform for the first time at the rookie premiere held by the NFLPA last weekend. And fresh off the news of the tush push not being banned and that rule not being and that ban not being passed by the league after the vote, we get news per Roger Goodell that the Buffalo Bills will be the featured team on training camp Hard Knocks this summer. But more importantly, they let out the news that the NFC East will be featured on this year's in-season edition of Hard Knocks. I just completed watching last year's in-season Hard Knocks, and it was stellar. It was phenomenal television. It was the AFC North, with Joe Burrow and the Bengals, Jameis and the Browns, Lamar and the Ravens, and Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's phenomenal because they equally divide the TV time up between the four teams, and it's paced very beautifully. And it's the back half of the season. There was no other choice for this season's in-season Hard Knocks. There was no other choice. This is the most interesting division in the NFL. There's going to be a three-headed monster fighting for 3 playoff spots in this division this year. The Giants could be either this year's surprise team or this year's cataclysmic disaster that we could see a change of coaching, a change of leadership on the damn show. When you look at this year's primetime schedule, when you take the Chiefs out the way, it's the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Cowboys right after that. There is no better division in football. There is no more intriguing or interesting division in football. There is no division with the storylines, the passionate fan bases, and the history of the NFC East. And it's a beast again. If you think Dallas is going to be sorry with a healthy Dak, I'm sorry to tell you that is not the case. This is the division with the hardest cumulative schedule in the entire NFL this year. You're going to get amazing A1 content. You're getting the Cowboys on Thanksgiving versus Mahomes and the Chiefs. That's going to be must-see television on in-season Hard Knocks. You're getting the Cowboys versus Commanders on Christmas Day. The week before that, you're getting Eagles Commanders. And the week after Christmas, you're getting Eagles Commanders again. There is so much infighting in play. Like, this is going to be the most riveting season of Hard Knocks yet. You're getting Christmas games. You're getting Netflix games. You're getting divisional battle. You're probably going to be able to cover the games that clinch and decide the NFC East on HBO Films Hard Knocks. It's not going to be none of that training camp shit where you're fighting for, like, they're going to make some off-season undrafted rookie one of the focuses of the show. No, this show gets to the shits because it doesn't really cover the first half of the season. It's covering the Murderer's Row part of the season. Washington, and specifically our last 4 games of the season, are against the entire division. So there's going to be so much divisional infighting and must-see. We're going to do watch parties for every episode of In-Season Hard Knocks. So get ready. It's going to be story time. Get your popcorn ready. We're going to sit around the tube and We're going to do it like it's a game day every time these boys come on. Washington has so much primetime real estate. So does Dallas. So does Philadelphia. And even the Giants to be we don't know what the fuck they're going to look like type team. We don't know what their quarterback situation is looking like, but for Brian Daboll to save his job, he's got to get Jackson Dart on the field at some point. You know? Malik Neighbors, must-see television. They had a good draft. Abdul Carter, they're interesting. Dallas is NFL, Disney, Google, Apple. They are the biggest brand, and you're lying to yourself if you don't think that is not still the case. George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, are they going to jump ring Dakota Prescott sometime this year? Are they ever going to live up to expectations? Is Dak's window starting to close in Dallas? Are they going to start to flirt with the idea of drafting a young quarterback sometime soon, despite the fact that they paid him ridiculous income to be their quarterback? There's always story. Micah Parsons and his contract situation, podcast Parsons. The Eagles are coming off a Super Bowl. They're coming off the push not being banned. They're coming off still having the best roster in football and being the division champions and being the champions of the entire league in a division where no one's won the division in back-to-back years. And then there's Jaden Daniels in the Washington Commanders. The league is slowly propping him up to be the next face of this league, or at least the face of the conference that they could put as a counterpart to Patrick Mahomes. I wonder if they're going to put any of the Mahomes versus Jaden Monday night matchup into in-season Hard Knocks. Oh, this is going to be must-see television, y'all. This is going to be cinema, and I will be seated watch party style going live for each episode so we can live react to all of it. No other division in this sport compare. Yeah, the NFC North was really good last year, but it lacks the sizzle. It lacks the sex appeal. It lacks the fan passion that the NFC East has. And I am predicting we're going to get 3 playoff teams out of the NFC East. So what better year? We might get bonus coverage of in-season Hard Knocks, that covers through the postseason and shit if we get 3 playoff teams. But last season was great. Last season was great. And it was really hard to make the NFC North that interesting last year because the Browns fucking sucked and the Bengals defense didn't allow them to flourish. But they made Jameis and the Browns very interesting. Training camp, Hard Knocks was really good as well with the Chicago Bears. It's going to be Buffalo Bills on there. It's going to be reigning MVP Josh Allen. There's going to be hella Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld all over that. But the big boy, the varsity Hard Knocks for the 2025 season is going to be NFC East edition. We saw the Giants on off-season Hard Knocks. We're never going to see an NFL team do off-season Hard Knocks ever again. But we got to enjoy watching the shit show that was the Giants trying to figure out what they were doing with the Saquon situation at quarterback, etc. Now we get to watch how the sausage is made for all the 4 teams in the division. Dallas has a new coach. I know that's getting lost in the mix of all the stuff that goes on in the NFL offseason. Brian Schottenheimer is taking over as head coach over there. Nick Sirianni just got extended. Dan Quinn and company and Adam Peters, they're sitting pretty with their feet kicked up and ready to roll this thing back and do it again in 2025. And the New York Giants GM and head coach, they're in life jackets, on life rafts, hoping to make it to shore. So do I need to spell it any differently for y'all? This is going to be the most riveting season of Hard Knocks in the history of Hard Knocks, and no division is ever going to do it like this division will, man. It's going to be must-see television. But moving on to the other thing that I seen on the timeline earlier today, Jordan Schultz made an interesting comment about one Terry McLaurin, Washington lifer. They are not going to play any games with this boy. They're going to get an extension done. But apparently, Terry has been a full participant in all the OTA workouts so far. But today, he was not seen at practice as the offseason workouts continued. We're now at phase 3 of Washington's program, kicking off early next week. And Terry apparently wants a contract. Obviously, we know it's coming. You know, there's 1 year left on his deal. We're not ever letting Terry McLaurin hit unrestricted free agency. I think this is a nothing to see here type situation. I think it'll take a couple sit downs with Terry's agent, Adam Peters and company, and a contract extension will be done. This is nothing we need to raise our eyebrows about. This is nothing we need to panic about. Coming off his best touchdown production season and what it looks like when Terry actually has a quarterback in DC, I don't think we have much to worry about here, but it is something to monitor and to pay attention to because, you know, we just did a stream a couple weeks ago about do we get Terry and Tunzel done before training camp sometime this season? They extended Cosme like right before the season last year. I don't think it's going to wait all the way until then. Terry McLaurin has some leverage, you know. Let's just tighten up that contract and I'll get out there and suit up with the guys. He's a leader. He is what everyone calls a coach's dream. And he is as Washington Redskins football team commander in his blood as any player we've seen in the last 5 to 10 years. Nothing to see here, guys. Nothing to see here. They're going to get him done. I don't think it takes long. We'll probably have him done before the month of July. I think that'll get done over the next few weeks. I don't see a hardball situation coming out. I don't see us doing business like the Cincinnati Bengals and putting things at jeopardy to possibly see a holdout or holding out and sitting out of camp or anything like that. Anything to mess up the morale, the relationship with the player and the team chemistry. I don't see it happening because we don't move like that. We are not the Cincinnati Bengals. We are now a professional operation, but let me know. My number for Terry is 3 years, $95 million. 3 years, $95 million. Let's be done with the conversation. Let's never talk about it again. That's about $31.5 million a year. That would put him as like the 7th highest paid receiver in the NFL. Wipe your hands with it. Be done with it. Call it a day. Terry deserves his money. We're not going to be stingy with him. We're not going to play games with it. Hopefully that did not change while I was recording this video, but that's all I got for right now. Commanders Kings tonight at 8:45. Make sure y'all tune into that. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Talk soon.